Okay, നമുക്ക് നെക്സ്റ്റ് പോർഷൻ നോക്കാം. ന്യൂറൽ കൺട്രോൾ ആൻഡ് കോർഡിനേഷൻ. ന്യൂറൽ കൺട്രോൾ ആൻഡ് കോർഡിനേഷൻ. Neural control and coordination. That's the first question. All the following are true about neurons except that they are structural and functional unit of neural system. Neurons. Yes, neurons are the structural and functional unit of nervous system. Nervous system in the structural and functional unit ആയി നമ്മൾ അറിയപ്പെടുന്നത് എന്തിനെയാണ്? ന്യൂറോൺസിനെയാണ്. True. Conducting cell transmitting impulse from receptors to effectors. The only excited cell which can conduct impulse, that is neurons. The only excited cell which can conduct impulse in our nervous system. Nervous system ആകെയുള്ള ഒരു എക്സൈറ്റഡ് സെൽ ന്യൂറോൺ ആണ്. അവരാണ് ഇമ്പൾസിനെ കണ്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നതും. ട്രൂ. റിസപ്റ്ററിൽ നിന്നും ഇഫക്റ്ററിലേക്കും. Excitable cell with the polarized membrane. Yes, neuron excited and have the ability to respond to signal, and their membranes are charged, outer positively charged and inner negatively charged. So the polarized membrane are true. Highly regenerative cell is wrong. The regeneration is reduced or absent in neuron. Neuron regenerate illa. So regeneration absent. That is dividing cell alla. So here the incorrect one. ഏതാണ് ഓപ്ഷൻ 4. Then match the following and select the correct option. Ganglia. Ganglia means is a cluster of cytone. What is cytone? See, suppose this is a neuron. In this neuron, this terminal bulged portion is called as cytone or cell body. This terminal bulged portion called as cytone or cell body. Okay, so cytone or cell body is the terminal bulged portion. A cytone, a enlarged portion, a cell body, our cluster neana, cluster of this cell body or cytone in our peripheral nervous system called as ganglia. Correct. Schwann cells. See, നിങ്ങൾ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു സെൽ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാകും, ന്യൂറോഗ്ലിയ. Neuroglial cells. 50% of cells in our nervous system are neuroglial cells. Nervous system in 50% cells neuroglial cells ആണ്. These are the protective and supportive cell associated with the neuron. ന്യൂറോണിനോട് അസോസിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് കാണുന്ന പ്രൊട്ടക്റ്റീവ് സപ്പോർട്ടീവ് സെൽസ് ആണ് ന്യൂറോഗ്ലിയൽ സെൽസ്. These neuroglial cells includes different types ആണ്. Neuroglial cells includes Schwann cells, then oligodendrocytes, another one microglia, astrocytes, then ependyma cells. These are the glial cells associated with the neuron. And among the glial cells, these Schwann cells are the glial cells of peripheral nervous system. The glial cells of peripheral nervous system are Schwann cells. These Schwann cells are responsible for producing myelin sheath in peripheral nervous system. Schwann cells produce myelin sheath in peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system myelin sheath ne produce ചെയ്യുന്ന സെല്ലാണ് Schwann cells എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Oligodendrocytes are seen in central nervous system. These oligodendrocytes are the cells responsible for producing myelin sheath in central nervous system. അപ്പോൾ പെരിഫറൽ നെർവസ് സിസ്റ്റത്തിൽ മൈലിൻ ഷീത്തിനെ പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഷ്വാൻ സെൽസ് ആണെങ്കിൽ സെൻട്രൽ നെർവസ് സിസ്റ്റത്തിലെ മൈലിൻ ഷീത്തിനെ പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഒലിഗോഡെൻഡ്രോസൈറ്റ് ആണ്. മൈക്രോഗ്ലിയ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ദീസ് ആർ ദ മാക്രോഫേജസ്. ആസ്ട്രോസൈറ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ബ്ലഡ് ബ്രെയിൻ ബാരിയർ എന്നറിയപ്പെടുന്ന സെല്ലാണ്. ബ്ലഡ് ബ്രെയിൻ ബാരിയർ ആസ്ട്രോസൈറ്റ്സ്. ഇപ്പൻഡൈമ സെൽസ് ആർ ദി എപ്പിത്തീലിയൽ സെൽസ് ഓഫ് ബ്രെയിൻ. ബ്രെയിനിലെ എപ്പിത്തീലിയൽ സെൽസും ആണ്. അങ്ങനെയെങ്കിൽ ആൻസർ ചെയ്തോ. ഷ്വാൻ സെൽസ് എന്താണ്? മൈലിൻ ഷീത്ത് ഇൻ പെരിഫറൽ നെർവസ് സിസ്റ്റം. സോ എ എസ് വരും, ദെൻ ബി എന്താ വരിക? ബി ആർ, എ എസ് ബി ആർ. ദെൻ നോട്ട്സ് ഓഫ് റാൻവിയർ. See, in some neuron, in cell body, this axon anagil. In some neuron, these axons are covered by myelin sheath. But entire neuron in a cover, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ axon in a myelin sheath covering കാണില്ല. Axonil തന്നെ myelin sheath covering ഇല്ലാത്ത region ഉണ്ട്. That region, that means that constricted region between, the small region between two myelin sheath are called as knots of Ranvier. അതിൽ പറയുക knots of Ranvier. Myelin sheath cover ചെയ്യാതെ കാണുന്ന ന്യൂറോണിൻ്റെ റീജിയൻ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആക്സോണിൻ്റെ റീജിയനാണ് knots of Ranvier എന്ന് പറയുക. So knots are Ranvier, gap in myelinated axon. Gap in myelinated axon is called as which one? So ASBRCQ varum. Okay, like, so gap in myelinated neuron. The neural lemma. Neural lemma is the covering of membrane of nerve fiber. So here, which one is the option? Answer third option. So answer third option. Okay. Then how many of the following statements are true? How many of the following statements are true? Let's see. First statement, cytone and axon. Cytone, axon and dendrites are the major part of neuron. This is a neuron structure. This neuron consisting, this terminal bulged portion is called as cytone, and cytoplasmic processes arises are called as dendrons. Then this long dendron is axon. So it's true statement. Cytone, axon, dendrites are the major part of neuron. Then Nissel's bodies are the characteristics of cell organelles of neuron. In neuron, the cytoplasm contains specialized cell organelle called as Nissel's granule. These are the modified rough endoplasmic reticulum and ribosomes. Modified rough endoplasmic reticulum and ribosome. True. Then saltatory conduction is fast and less energy consuming. Yes, saltatory conduction seen in myelinated neuron. True statement. Neuroglia are non-nervous supporting cells of neural system. Yes, non-nervous. They are dividing cell and they are seen associated with the nervous system for supporting and provide protection support to the neuron. So answer all of these are true. So answer option 4. Then find the mismatch in the comparison of resting neuron and depolarized neuron. Resting and depolarized neuron. Suppose this is a resting neuron. In a resting neuron, the outer, that means the extracellular fluid part of this axon is or cell membrane is positively charged and the inner cytoplasm is negatively charged. This outer positively charged is due to the presence of large amount of sodium ion, and this inner is negatively charged due to the presence of large amount of anionic protein. These anionic proteins are responsible for the negatively charged in cytoplasm. But when a stimulus occur in a particular region of neuron, suppose in this region a stimulus occur, what happened? In that region, the permeability of the plasma membrane changes. However, the sodium ion try to diffuses into the interior. In a resting neuron, when the sodium try to diffuses into the interior, we have sodium potassium pump is there. Sodium potassium pump, which actually pumps out sodium to the exterior. But under the stimulation, the permeability property altered and there is a temporary inactivation of sodium potassium pump. What happened? The sodium ion enter inside the cell and anionic protein moves outside the cell. As a result, what happened to this region? This stimulated region become depolarized. So the charge altered from minus 70 millivolt to plus 30 millivolt in a depolarized neuron. So first one resting neuron inside minus 70 millivolt, then depolarized inside plus 30 millivolt. True and correct another matching on. Then in a resting neuron, inside has higher concentration of potassium. Yes, resting neuron inside have higher concentration of potassium as well as large amount of anionic protein. Then in a depolarized neuron, inside has higher concentration of sodium. Depolarized number sodium ion inside has higher concentration of sodium ion. True. Then Resting state is maintained by potassium is wrong. Resting state is maintained by this anionic protein as well as sodium. So the incorrect match is option 3. Resting state is maintained by this anionic protein and sodium ion. So answer option 3. Then the correct sequence of events in the production of action potential at nodes of Ranvier. See here. When a stimulus occur in a particular region, suppose in myelinated neuron, this myelin sheath they act as electric insulator. But we know the nodes of Ranvier, these are the region in which this myelin sheath absent. That gap in between the myelin sheath is nodes of Ranvier. They are actually electrically active region. So when a stimulus occurs, sodium ion moves into the cell, potassium and anionic protein moves outside the cell. This is called as depolarization. So what happened? The sodium channel opens by the application of stimulus. When a stimulus occurs here, the sodium channel opens. What happens? Sodium moves inside the cell. So first one, sodium channel opens by the application of stimulus. Then potassium diffuses outside and sodium channel closes. What happens? Sodium inside and potassium diffuses outside by the application of stimulus. Then the sodium influx inside become positively charged. Yes, as a result of the sodium influx, this inside become positively charged. Then next is C. The sodium flows adjacent to the neuron make depolarized. So here this part will become depolarized. Sodium moves inside the cell, negatively charged proteins moves outside the cell. But when the impulse leave from this part to the adjacent part of neuron, the impulse leave from this region. What happened to the next region? That next region become depolarized. When this next region become repolarized, this previous part become repolarized. This previous portion become repolarized. So here the answer is option 4. Next, the sketch of a chemical synapse is given below. Let's draw the structure of a chemical synapse. There are two types of synapse, chemical and electrical synapse. And here this chemical synapse. This is the presynaptic knob. Presynaptic knob. And this one is postsynaptic knob. This is postsynaptic knob. The space between these two neurons, this is synaptic cleft. This is synaptic cleft. This presynaptic knob contains synaptic vesicle. It contains synaptic vesicle having the neurotransmitter. This is synaptic vesicle having neurotransmitter. This one is the presynaptic membrane. This is presynaptic membrane. This portion is postsynaptic membrane. Postsynaptic membrane. This postsynaptic membrane have chemoreceptors. The chemoreceptors are there. So here when impulse reached here, the calcium ion get bind on the synaptic vesicle. So synaptic vesicle move to the presynaptic membrane and ruptured and release this neurotransmitter to the cleft. This neurotransmitter, that signal is received by the presynaptic postsynaptic receptors, and the action potential formed in this postsynaptic membrane, and this impulse transmitted to the next neuron. So here the sketch of synapse is given below. What is 1? Presynaptic knob, 2 synaptic vesicle, 3 postsynaptic membrane, 3 presynaptic membrane, 4 postsynaptic membrane, then 5 cleft, 6 is receptors, chemoreceptors. Impulse reaching the synapse generate new action potential at ഇവിടെ an action potential generate ചെയ്യുക. The new action potential generated the postsynaptic membrane, that is fourth one. The labeled portion fourth, answer is option 3. Steps in chemical synapse conduction are given below. What happened? First one, the action potential depolarized the presynaptic membrane. See here the action potential reached. What happened when action potential reached? Calcium ion enters in synaptic knob and adhere to the synaptic vesicle. Calcium ion get adhered to the synaptic vesicle. Then synaptic vesicle release neurotransmitter. When calcium ion binded here, the synaptic vesicle releases the neurotransmitters. Then the neurotransmitters bind on the receptors of postsynaptic neuron. ഈ neurotransmitter postsynaptic membrane chemoreceptor bind ചെയ്യുന്നു. Then postsynaptic membrane generate action potential. So ഇപ്പോൾ action potential ഇവിടെ action potential generate ചെയ്യുന്നു. Last one, the postsynaptic membrane is repolarized by removing neurotransmitters. അപ്പോൾ അത് വീണ്ടും repolarized resting neuron സ്റ്റേജിലേക്ക് മാറുന്നു. So the answer is option 2. Then sagittal section of human brain is given below. The labeled portion 1 is the outer part of cerebrum, cerebral cortex. Second one is corpus callosum. Second, the labeled portion 2 is corpus callosum. Then 3 is thalamus, the relay center, thalamus. Fourth one is hypothalamus. The labeled portion 4th is hypothalamus here. Then the fifth one is midbrain. Fifth is midbrain. Sixth is medulla oblongata. Sixth one medulla oblongata. Then 7 is the midbrain portion, corpora quadrigemina. Corpora quadrigemina. So question: hypothalamus, corpora quadrigemina, corpus callosum marked respectively as. So hypothalamus ഏതാണതിൽ? Hypothalamus is 4. Fourth one is hypothalamus. Then corpus callosum 2 അല്ലേ corpus callosum. So corpus callosum, hypothalamus, fourth one. Then second one corpora quadrigemina, seventh one. Corpora quadrigemina, seventh one. And 2 is corpus callosum. So the answer is option 4. Then select the correctly matching option regarding the function of cerebral cortex area. Cerebral cortex contain frontal, parietal, temporal and occipital region. These are the different regions of cerebral cortex. And here first one, frontal cortex. What is the function of frontal cortex? And here the option, frontal cortex is matching to the judgment and decision making by the frontal cortex region. So A is matching to R. Then parietal cortex, this parietal region. This parietal region function is it perceives sensor, taste, temperature, etc. Their centers are located in the parietal region, parietal cortex region. Okay. Then temporal, this temporal cortex region. This temporal cortex region here, smell, comprehension, these functions are performed by this temporal cortex region. Then last one is occipital cortex region. Then interpretation of shape, color, these are interpretation center is regulation by this occipital cortex. So here which is option? First one. Answer option 1. They find the incorrect match. Incorrect match. Broca's area. This Broca's area found in the frontal cortex region. The frontal cortex region, thought to speech, etc. regulated by the Broca's area, the area for speech. Then Wernicke's area. Wernicke's area found in the temporal cortex. The language comprehension by regulation by this Wernicke's area. Then somatosensory area. Somatosensory area seen in parietal region and its function is same. Perception of touch, temperature, pain, etc. are controlled by this region. So here the incorrect match is olfactory area, not in occipital cortex. Here the question, occipital cortex എന്നാണ് കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. The olfactory area located in the temporal cortex. Olfactory, the area for smell are located in temporal cortex. So the incorrect one is option 4. So, next one, 11th one. Which of the following is incorrectly matched? Amygdala, emotion center of brain, amygdala, limbic system and hippocampus, they are together called as amygdala. Function emotional center of brain. Correct. Hippocampus, memory center, short term memory, long term memory like a convert in a center ആണ് ഈ hippocampus എന്ന് പറയുക. Thalamus, the gateway to cerebral cortex, that means the relay center. True. Limbic system is relay station is wrong. Limbic system means emotional brain ആണ്, not relay center. So here the answer is option 4. Find the correct match. Forebrain. Forebrain consists of cerebellum, thalamus and hypothalamus. So A Q varum. Then hindbrain. Hindbrain consists of cerebellum, pons and medulla oblongata. Hindbrain region, brain stem എന്ന് പറയുന്ന region. Matching ആണ്. Then brain stem. This brain stem is brain stem region. What is the brain stem region? Here cerebellum, pons and medulla oblongata form brain stem. Then limbic globe, amygdala, hippocampus and hypothalamus form the limbic system. So answer option 2. Which of the following is incorrectly matched? Incorrect to match regions are cerebral cortex control the involuntary functions of bodies. It is incorrect because cerebral cortex usually control the voluntary functions of our body. So the incorrect one is option 1 is the incorrect one. ബാക്കിയുള്ളതെല്ലാം കറക്റ്റാണ്. തലാമസ് കോർഡിനേറ്റ് ദ സെൻസറി മോട്ടോർ സിഗ്നൽ, ദ റിലേ സെൻറ്റർ. ഹൈപ്പോതലാമസ് കൺട്രോൾ ബോഡി ടെമ്പറേച്ചർ, അർജ് ഫോർ ഈറ്റിംഗ്, ട്രൂ ആണ്. Then association area, intersensory area, memory, communication. So here the answer is option 1. Then find the mismatch in the given table. Purkinje cells are the cells of cerebral cortex. Yes, these are some neural cells or specialized cells in our cerebral cortex. Pneumotaxic area, upper pons region, the respiratory center in brain. Correct ആണ്. Cerebral aqueduct, that is midbrain കാണുന്ന cavity ആണ് cerebral aqueduct. Then auditory area, not in thalamus. അപ്പോൾ incorrect on option 4. Then all the following are the functions of hypothalamus except production of neurohormone. Correct ആണ്. Appetite and taste center. Correct ആണ്. Thermostat, thermoregulation ചെയ്യുന്നു. Audiovisual cortex is wrong. Hypothalamus അങ്ങനെ റോൾ ഇല്ല. So incorrect is option 4. Then find the mismatch. Photoreceptor cells nearer to choroid. Photoreceptor cell function, they are nearer to the choroid layer of eyeball. Correct ആണ്. Bipolar neuron between photoreceptor layer, ganglion layer. Yes, bipolar neurons are seen in the retina in between ganglion layer and photoreceptor layer. Cones contain scotopsin for color vision is wrong. Cone contain photopsin for color vision. Okay, so the answer is option 3. The correct path of action potential produced by photoreceptor cell. And the correct path എന്ന് പറയുക, that means first of all the signal received by rods and cones, and they send the signal to the bipolar neuron to this ganglion cell send signal to visual cortex. So the answer is option 2. Which of the following is not true for fovea centralis? Okay, it is the central concave part of yellow spot. Yes, true another. It has only cones. Yes, cones are കാണപ്പെടുന്ന. Rods and blood vessels are absent. True. It is the place of the most of the distinct vision. Visual acuity maximum ആയിട്ടുള്ള region അത് തന്നെ. Then it is a point where optic nerve leave the eyeball. Wrong ആണ്. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള റീജിയൻ നമ്മൾ പറയുക ബ്ലൈൻഡ് സ്പോട്ട് എന്നാണ് പറയുക, നോട്ട് യെല്ലോ സ്പോട്ട്. നെക്സ്റ്റ് എക്സ്റ്റേണൽ ഇയർ, ഇതിലേതാണ് പിന്ന ഓഡിറ്ററി കനാൽ ആൻഡ് ഇയർ ഡ്രം, അതാണ് എക്സ്റ്റേണൽ ഇയറിൻ്റെ പാർട്ട്. സോ എക്സ്റ്റേണൽ ഇയർ ഈസ് യെസ്. ദെൻ ഇയർ ഓസിക്കിൾസ് ഏതൊക്കെയാണ്? ഇയർ ഓസിക്കിൾസ്, മാലിയസ്, ഇൻകസ് ആൻഡ് സ്റ്റെപ്പിസ്. സോ ബി ക്യൂ. ദെൻ കോക്ലിയ, സ്കാല വെസ്റ്റിബുലെ, സ്കാല മീഡിയ ആൻഡ് സ്കാല ടിംബാനി. സോ സി ടി. Then D, vestibular system consisting semicircular canal, utricle and saccule. So answer option D, 4, last option. Which of the following is correct? Semicircular canal, cristae, dynamic equilibrium. Correct ആണ്. Dynamic equilibrium range in the cristae ampullaris എന്ന് പറയുന്ന region ആണ്. Cochlea, organ of Corti seen in the cochlear region, inner ear for hearing. Schneiderian membrane, നമ്മുടെ nasal cavity റൂഫ് റീജിയനിൽ കാണുന്നതാണ് Schneiderian region. ബോമാൻസ് ഗ്ലാൻഡ് എന്ന് പറയും. അതിൻ്റെ ഫംഗ്ഷൻ മോയിസ്റ്റനിങ് ഓഫ് എയർ ആൻഡ് ഓൾഫാക്ടറി ഫംഗ്ഷൻ. കറക്റ്റ് ആണ്. ദെൻ സാക്കുലസ് ഓട്ടോലിത്ത് ഓർഗൻ, ഇൻസ്പിറേറ്ററി സെൻറ്റർ റോങ് ആണ്. സാക്കുലസ് ഓട്ടോലിത്ത് ഓർഗൻ മെയിൻറ്റെയിനിങ് ദ സ്റ്റാറ്റിക് ഇക്വിലിബ്രിയം. സോ ആൻസർ ഈസ് ഓപ്ഷൻ 4. സോ ഇതാണ് നെർവസ് സിസ്റ്റത്തിൽ നമുക്കുള്ളത്. ഓക്കെ.